Ever feel like recovering from an injury is like playing the hardest video game of your life? New challenges, unfair enemies, new pain, and just when you think you've mastered something, bam, you get knocked back down again. But what if I told you that setback wasn't a setback at all? It was actually a sign that you were leveling up. What if I told you that miracles do happen? And one of them looked like Jeremy Renner sprinting up his driveway after doctors said he might never walk again. Imagine you're inside a video game. Each level has its own monsters, traps, and puzzles. To survive, you've got to adapt, learn the rules, and build new skills. Rehab after an injury, it's the same game. That stiff muscle, that weird soreness, that fear of walking to the mailbox like it's Mount Everest, it's all part of the first level. I once had a patient named Greg who tore his Achilles playing pickleball. Before the injury, he was hiking, biking, 10,000 steps before breakfast. And after the injury, his first rehab challenge was standing up off the couch without wincing. That was his first level. And he lost the first few times, but he kept pressing continue. And slowly, he started to win. Here's where most people quit. You're doing well, you walk to the kitchen, even around the block. And then, one day, you try to bike, and suddenly, everything hurts again. It feels like you're going backwards, but you're not. You've just unlocked a harder level. Every time you introduce a new activity, your muscles, nerves, and joints are like, whoa, what is this? We need backup. So they tighten, they guard, they protect. But that pain, that soreness, that's not regression. That's adaptation. Think about learning how to ride a bike. Remember that wobbly, terrible, terrifying moment before the training wheels came off? Now imagine doing that again as an adult after a knee surgery. Yeah, terrifying all over again. But with time, that fear fades, balance returns, confidence rebuilds. And guess what? That's exactly what your body's doing. It's just upgrading to the next level. Here's the truth. If you stay at level 1 for too long, you just stall. You regress. The muscles get lazy. The nervous system gets bored. And suddenly, even walking to the mailbox is a mountain again. Progress only happens when you push, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it hurts a little, even if you look ridiculous doing it. I had another patient named Paula who broke her pelvis in a car accident. She used to run 5Ks, but after the accident, she cried just trying to stand up on one leg. But you know what she told me 6 months later? I ran 100 feet today, and it felt like a marathon, but I did it. That's not just physical recovery, that's a soul win. Look, progress isn't linear. You don't go from couch to Ironman in a single line. You zig, you zag, you crash, you respawn. But every challenge is a signal. You've unlocked something new. And with each level, you grow stronger, fitter, more you. So next time your knee screams during that hike, or you're sore from just walking the dog, don't panic. You're not broken, you're just leveling up. Let me leave you with this. You never get to do more by doing less. Let that sink in. We live in a world that sells shortcuts, 10-day abs, 2-week miracle cures. But the truth, the real truth, transformation doesn't come gift wrapped. It comes sweat-soaked and sometimes tear-stained. If you want strength, you have to struggle. Muscles only grow when they're torn down first. Bones get denser under pressure. Your nervous system, it only rewires when it's forced to adapt. So if you want progress, you have to press play, even when you're scared, especially when you're scared. That fear, that's your signal. It means you're on the edge of something worth doing. Look, comfort zones are cozy, but nothing grows there. They're not launching pads, their waiting rooms, and too many people stay stuck waiting for a better day to try. But here's something else you need to hear. Some of you watching have tried. You did the therapy. You took the medication. You followed the instructions and nothing worked. You started to believe that you were the problem. But the truth is, you just haven't found the right treatment plan yet. Healing isn't always about trying harder. Sometimes it's about trying different. I've seen people quit too early. Others get trapped in what their insurance will cover and never explore the options that could actually change their life. And let me say this loud and clear. The best therapy for your condition might not be covered by your insurance. And you owe it to yourself to stop asking, what does my plan cover? And start asking, what's the most effective treatment for me? I'll give you a personal example. 5 years ago, I had a horrible car accident. My neck curve flattened, and I knew, because I had studied the research, that a straightened cervical curve meant reduced blood flow to my brain. That's not just a neck issue, that's a cognitive risk. That's dementia, Alzheimer's. So I got serious. I used cervical decompression and a specialized neck pillow to bring that curve back. It didn't happen overnight, but it worked. And my low back, it had multiple herniations, disc bulges, even prolapses. They wanted to do surgery on both my neck and lower back, but I wasn't ready to go under the knife. Instead, I built my own recovery protocol that included chiropractic, acupuncture, laser, and decompression therapy. And my shoulder, it was wrecked. The kind of pain that made you wince just reaching for a cup. Again, surgery was a recommendation, but I went with PRP injections instead, and they worked. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-surgery. I've had an umbilical hernia repair that also stemmed from this accident. I also had sinus surgery too for a deviated septum that arose from this crash as well. When surgery is the right tool, I'm all for it. But I always ask first, what's the best option for long-term healing? What addresses the root of the issue? Today, I play volleyball. I do house projects. I hit the gym. I sit at poker tables for hours without pain. I'm not just surviving, I'm back to living. So if you want to run again, dance again, hike again, or just feel like yourself again, it's not just going to come from sitting still. It comes from doing the things that feel hard, awkward, even impossible. Every time you show up and try, no matter how small the step, you send a message to your body, we're coming back. So keep going. Do the extra rep. Take the longer route. Get up one more time, because you'll never level up by backing down. On January 1st, 2023, actor Jeremy Renner, that's right, Hawkeye himself, was crushed by a 14,000-pound snowcat while saving his nephew from getting hit. He had over 30 broken bones, a collapsed lung, shattered rib cage, a pelvis that was broken in multiple places. His eyeball had popped out of the socket. He even wrote goodbye notes to his family from the ICU. His prognosis? Forget movies. Just surviving the next few days was uncertain. And walking again? Doctors told him he wouldn't. But Renner, he didn't tap out. He started rehab while still using oxygen, battling pain that most of us can't even imagine. He actually moved in with his chiropractor. He trained for hours every single day. Not glamorous, not pretty, just grinding through the pain with supervised care. At first, just standing was a major battle. Every twitch of his foot, every shift of weight was another level unlocked. Then it happened. Jeremy laced up a pair of Brooks running shoes, walked outside, and sprinted up his driveway. In his words, it gave me hope like fuel. That wasn't just a jog. That was a man sprinting away from every limit they said he'd never beat. He didn't just recover. He rewrote what recovery could look like. I want to tell you why setbacks aren't really setbacks. When you're recovering from anything, a broken leg, a herniated disc, even just surgery, every new activity feels impossible. Walking to the kitchen, bending over to tie your shoes, you feel like you're going backwards. But that soreness, that wobble, that's not failure. That's your body learning the next level. You're not regressing, you're adapting, you're building, just like Jeremy. Your next level may start ugly. Let me be real with you. 95% of people would never recover the way Jeremy Renner did. Not because they couldn't, but because they'd give up when things got ugly. Healing isn't some Netflix miracle montage. It's grit, it's limping, it's crying, it's doubting. And then, one day, you jog your own driveway. You realize the miracle wasn't the sprint. It was all the days before it, when nobody was watching, when you showed up anyway. So what's your driveway moment? That turning point when you stood up, literally or figuratively, when the world told you that you were done. Was it hiking again? Playing with your grandkids? Or just getting out of bed without pain? Whatever it was, or whatever it will be, you can get there, but you gotta push. Trust the soreness, fail forward, and keep leveling up. Even Jeremy Renner didn't do it alone. His chiropractor wasn't just adjusting him, he was rebuilding him with therapy, with rehab, with belief, ultrasound, e-stim, acupuncture, functional movement, whatever it took to get him back up that hill. Sometimes you need someone in your corner who sees the next level before you do and pushes you towards it, even when it hurts. If that kind of comeback lit something in you and this message hit you right in the gut, tell me where you're at. What level are you on? What was your turning point? Was it your knee, your back, or a fear that you finally stopped running from? Leave a comment and subscribe if you want more truth-packed health stories like this. No gimmicks, no fluff, just real talk, just the rest of the story. Because today is where your book begins, and there's so much more left to write. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you picked up some tips that you can actually use. If you want to keep learning, your next video is waiting for you right here. And hey, if I've earned it, hit the subscribe button and give this a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow.